Hello students, welcome to the second lecture of thermal properties of matter. I am Lalit Midha and today we will start very important topic, that is thermal expansion. Right? So thermal expansion, in general, all the substances expand on heating. As you increase the temperature of any material, it will expand. Why? Because of increase in amplitude of vibrating atoms or molecules. Right? At normal temperature, they vibrate with less amplitude. But as we increase the temperature, their amplitude is increasing, so ultimately material is expanding. Right? There are different types of expansion. Let us see some examples based on thermal expansion. When a metal cap of bottle is so tight, it is kept in hot water to open it. If this metal cap is very tight, then you have to keep this bottle cap in hot water so that the metal cap will expand and you can easily open it. Right? This is expansion of solid. Second example is also expansion of solid. These are railway tracks. While lying down a railway track, a small gap must be left between the two ends of consecutive rails. So these are two consecutive rails. There will be gap between the two rails so that in summer, if the rails expand due to increase in temperature, then we need some space between the two rails so that they can expand easily. Right? If you don't leave any space between the two rails, then there is a chances of bending of rails. Right? So this is also example of expansion of solid. Next is example of expansion of liquid. It is expansion of mercury in thermometer when we put in hot water. As you increase the temperature of this mercury bulb, then mercury will expand, and due to expansion in mercury, it will start rising up. Right? So this is expansion of liquid mercury. Fourth example is expansion of gases. Cycle tube. This cycle tube is completely filled, fully filled tube. This tube may burst in hot summer due to expansion of air, because in hot summers, if temperature is increasing continuously, when you move this cycle, then due to friction, temperature will increase. If temperature will increase, then the air present inside this tube will try to expand, but there is no space, so the tube will burst. Right? This is example of expansion of gases. This is expansion of liquid. These two are example of expansion of solids. Right? Next is expansion of isotropic solids. What is the meaning of isotropic solids? Means the material is uniform in all the three directions. Whether you are going in X direction, Y direction or Z direction, the material is same and uniform. We know solids are having definite shape. So there will be expansion along lengthwise also, that is known as linear expansion. There will be expansion in the area also, that is known as areal or superficial expansion. There will be expansion in the volume also, that is known as cubical or volumetric expansion. So we have to discuss three different type of expansions for solid: linear, areal and volumetric expansion. First, let us discuss linear expansion, and the coefficient of linear expansion is represented by alpha symbol. Right? It is defined as the ratio of increase in length of the solid per degree rise in temperature to its initial length. So what is the definition of linear expansion? Let us understand by using this example. We have a rod of length L1 at T1 degree Celsius. Now we are increasing the temperature of the rod from T1 degree Celsius to T2 degree Celsius. So because of more vibration, the material will expand. and the increment in the length of the rod is delta L. What is delta L? Final length L2 minus initial length L1. So L2 minus L1 is delta L, that is the expansion in the rod, that is linear expansion. Right? So what is the definition of coefficient of linear expansion? Alpha is increase in length delta L divided by original length into rise in temperature. Right? So this is delta L divided by L1 initial length into rise in temperature T2 minus T1. So this is alpha, and in differential form we can write delta L by delta T as dL by dt. Right? L is same, this is initial length. Delta L by delta T, we can write it as dL by dt, that means differentiation of length with respect to temperature. Right? Because delta L is change in length, delta T is change in temperature, and here dL by dt also representing very small change. Right? Now, what is the unit of alpha? Unit of alpha is per degree Celsius or per Kelvin, because this length and this length will cancel out. Alpha unit is only 1 divided by temperature, that is per degree Celsius or per Kelvin, and the value of alpha is very, very small. Its range is 10 raised to power minus 5 minus 6. That means when we increase the temperature of solid, the expansion in the solid is very, very small. The expansion coefficient is very small, 10 raised to power minus 5 or 10 raised to power minus 6. Now let us see the next point. Delta L by L is equal to alpha into delta T. So delta L by L, you can write it as alpha into delta T, and this delta L by L is known as fractional change in length, or you can say fractional increase in length. Right? Because we are increasing the temperature, so length will increase, and we can say this is fractional increase in length. If you multiply this relation with 100, then it becomes percentage change. This is percentage increase in length. Right? So percentage increase in length is equal to alpha into delta T into 100%. Now let us see the final length of the rod. We know L2 minus L1 divided by L1 into delta T is equal to alpha. Multiply this L1 delta T on the right side. You will get L2 minus L1 is equal to alpha into L1 delta T. Find out the value of L2. L2 is L1 into 1 plus alpha delta T. This is the final length of the rod at T2 degrees Celsius. Right? This is the formula of final length. Now this value of alpha depends on nature of material. If you are using copper, then expansion will be different. If you are using aluminium, expansion will be different. So alpha depends on the material of the solid. And unit of temperature. If you are using per degree Celsius, value will be different. If you are using per degree Fahrenheit, value will be different. So with the unit, alpha value will change. Next important point, it is independent of length of the rod. This alpha is not depending on the length of the rod, it only depends on the material and the system of unit. Right? Now second type of expansion is aerial expansion or superficial expansion. The coefficient for aerial expansion is represented by beta. Beta is coefficient of aerial expansion. The definition is ratio of increase in area of the solid per degree rise in temperature to the initial area. Let us suppose the initial area of the solid is A1 at T1 degree Celsius. Now we are increasing temperature from T1 to T2 degree Celsius. Material will expand. Now the area become A2. A2 is more than A1. What is the definition of beta? Beta is ratio of increase in area A2 minus A1 divided by original area or initial area A1 into rise in temperature T2 minus T1, right? Or you can write it as delta A divided by A1 into delta T. Delta A by delta T in differential form, you can write it as dA by dt, differentiation of area with respect to temperature. Now delta A by A is equal to beta into delta T. So beta into delta T is delta A by A. This is known as fractional change in area or fractional increase in area, because we are increasing the temperature. If we decrease the temperature, the area will decrease, right? So this is delta A by A, fractional change in area. Now if we multiply it by 100, then we will get percentage increase in area, that is delta A by A into 100% is equal to beta into delta T into 100. This is percentage change in area or percentage increase in area. Now what is the unit of beta? Unit of beta is per degree Celsius or per Kelvin, because area will cancel out. Beta unit will be 1 by temperature, 1 by degree Celsius or 1 by Kelvin. Next, again range is very small because the expansion is very small. So range of beta is also very small, 10 raised to power minus 5, minus 6. Next point, beta depends on the nature of material and system of unit of the temperature. If we change the material, value of beta will change. Beta, alpha are the properties of material of the solid. So they depends on nature of material and system of unit of temperature. Next, beta is independent of area of the solid. Beta value depends only on material and system of unit. It will not depend on the area of the solid, right? Third type of expansion in solid is volume expansion, or it is also known as cubical expansion. When we increase the temperature of the body, then volume of that solid or body increases, and the coefficient that tells us about the volume expansion is known as coefficient of volume or cubical expansion, represented by gamma symbol. Definition is, it is the ratio of increase in volume of the solid per degree rise in temperature to its initial volume. Let us suppose at T1 degree Celsius the volume of the body is V1. As we increase the temperature from T1 to T2 degree Celsius, its volume increases from V1 volume to V2 volume. So volume is increasing with increase in temperature. According to the definition, the value of coefficient of volume expansion is increase in volume V2 minus V1 divided by increase in temperature into initial volume. That is the coefficient of volume expansion, or you can write it as delta V divided by V1 into delta T. Delta V is change in volume, delta T is change in temperature or increase in temperature. Now what is delta V by V1? That is gamma into delta T. This is known as fractional increase in volume. So this is fractional change in volume, and that is equal to gamma into delta T. If you multiply it by 100, then it becomes percentage change in volume, that is delta V by V into 100% is equal to gamma into delta T into 100%. This is fractional increase or change in volume. Now if you multiply this V1 into delta T here, then you will get V2 minus V1 is equal to gamma into V1 into delta T. Shift this V1 right side, you will get the final volume at T2 degree Celsius. V2 value is V1 into 1 plus gamma into delta T. This is the final volume of the body or solid at T2 degree Celsius, right? What is the unit of gamma? Gamma unit is per degree Celsius or per Kelvin. Volume will cancel out per temperature. So per degree Celsius, per Kelvin. Gamma depends on the material of the solid and system of unit of temperature, right? Next is the relation between the three different coefficients of thermal expansion, alpha, beta and gamma. Alpha is for linear expansion, beta is for areal expansion, gamma is for volume expansion. Now let us consider one unit cube, right, made up of isotropic material. That means material is uniform in all the direction. It is heated through 1 degree Celsius. That means the increase in temperature is 1 degree Celsius. Now this is a unit cube whose length is 1. So initial length is 1 meter. Area is length into width, again 1 meter square. Volume is length, width, height. Multiplication of the 3. That will give you 1 meter cube. So these are the initial dimensions of a cube, right? Now let us increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Due to increase in temperature, the material will expand and there will be a new volume, new area and new length. So let us calculate the new length of the cube when temperature of the cube is increased by 1 degree Celsius. So formula of final length is initial length into 1 plus alpha into delta T. Initial length is 1. Delta T is also 1. So final length of the cube is equal to 1 plus alpha. Right? Now let us calculate the final area of this cube. Area is length into width. That means L2 into L2. So L2 into L2, this is 1 plus alpha. 1 plus alpha, multiply it. We will get 1 plus 2 alpha plus alpha square. Alpha square is negligible. Why? Because we know the value of alpha is very, very small, 10 raised to power minus 6. And if you square it, you will get a very, very negligible value, that is 10 raised to power minus 12. So in comparison to 1 and alpha, 10 raised to power minus 12 is negligible, so we can neglect it. So what is the final area? It is 1 plus 2 alpha, right? Now let us calculate the volume. Volume is length into width into height. All values are equal to L2. Put the values of L2. L2 is 1 plus alpha. So 1 plus alpha into 1 plus alpha into 1 plus alpha. If you multiply it and open it, you will get 1 plus 3 alpha plus 3 alpha square plus alpha cube. These two terms are again very, very small. Because alpha is very small, so square and cube terms are very, very small, so we will neglect them. What we will get? We will get 1 plus 3 alpha as the final volume. Right? Now let us find out the relation between alpha and beta. Beta definition is change in area divided by original area into increase in temperature. A2 minus A1 divided by A1. A2 is 1 plus 2 alpha, put it here. A1 is 1, put it here. Increase in temperature is also 1 degree Celsius. So when you put all these values, you will get beta equal to 2 alpha. 1 will cancel out. Right? So we got first relation that beta by alpha is equal to 2:1. Right? Now relation between alpha and gamma. Gamma definition is V2 minus V1 divided by V1 into delta T. V2 is 1 plus 3 alpha. V1 is 1. Put it here. V1 is 1. Increase in temperature is also 1. So 1 will cancel out. We'll get 3 alpha. So gamma is equal to 3 alpha. This is the second relation. Or you can say gamma by alpha is equal to 3:1. Right? And we can write gamma as alpha plus 2 alpha also. Alpha plus 2 alpha is beta. So we can write gamma as alpha plus beta. Right? Now the ratio of the three. This is 2 alpha. This is 3 alpha. If you calculate the ratio alpha will cancel out and we will get 1:2:3 as ratio of alpha, beta, gamma. Right? Next, let us discuss some problems related with thermal expansion of solids. First example, coefficient of linear expansion of gold is given to you 14 into 10 raised to power minus 6 per degree Celsius. Find the coefficient of linear expansion in Fahrenheit scale. That means this is given to us in degree Celsius and they are asking find out the value of alpha in degree Fahrenheit. We know 1 degree Celsius change is equal to 9 by 5 degree Fahrenheit or 1.8 degree Fahrenheit change. And according to the definition of alpha, it is delta L by L into rise in temperature, delta T. So this is change in temperature. So here we have change in temperature unit, that is 1 degree Celsius, and 1 degree Celsius is equal to 1.8 degree Fahrenheit. So you can replace this 1 degree Celsius change into 1.8 degree Fahrenheit change. So replace it and put the value. You will get alpha equal to 7.7 into 10 raised to power minus 6 per degree Fahrenheit. Right? Second problem. Find increase in temperature of aluminium rod if its length is to be increased by 1%. So percentage change is given to you. And we know the percentage change formula is delta L by L into 100% is equal to alpha into delta T into 100. So percentage increase in length is given to you. That means this is given to you 1%. And it is equal to alpha into delta T into 100. Alpha value is given in the question for aluminium, 25 into 10 raised to power minus 6. Delta T we have to find out, 100 is in multiplication. Find out the value of delta T from this equation. You will get delta T as 400 degrees Celsius. So increase in temperature is 400 degrees Celsius. Third problem. An equilateral triangle ABC, this is an equilateral triangle, that means all sides are equal, is formed by joining 3 rods of equal length and D is the midpoint of AB. D is the midpoint of AB, that means this is perpendicular. CD is perpendicular to AB. Now the linear coefficient for AB is alpha 1. For AC and BC is alpha 2. If the distance DC remain constant for small change in temperature, we have to find out the relation between alpha 1 and alpha 2. Let us start. First, I am assuming AC length as L2 and AB length as L1, right? AB length coefficient is alpha 1 and AC length coefficient is alpha 2. L1 and L2 both are magnitude wise equal, right? Why I am showing it with 2 different symbols? The reason is because their expansion coefficients are different, alpha 1 and alpha 2. Magnitude wise L1 and L2 both are equal. Now according to the Pythagoras theorem, this triangle, according to the Pythagoras theorem, you can say AC square hypotenuse square is equal to AD square plus CD square, where CD is constant. According to the question, CD is constant. What is AC length? AC length is L2. And what is AD length? Midpoint. So it is L1 by 2. So it is L1 by 2 whole square. That means L1 by 4. L1 square divided by 4 is equal to CD square, that is the constant value. Now with change in temperature, this distance remain constant. CD distance remain constant with increase in temperature. So other distances AC and AD is changing with temperature. If they are changing with temperature, then we can differentiate with respect to temperature. So I am differentiating the equation with respect to temperature, and we know according to the chain rule, the differentiation of x power n is n into x power n minus 1. So first we have to use x power n formula here. So differentiation of L2 square with respect to temperature is, power will come in multiplication. So 2 into L2 power 1. Now I will differentiate L2 with respect to T because we are differentiating with respect to temperature. You have to check chain rule in basic mathematics, right? So this is the differentiation of L2 square minus differentiation of L1 square. So 2 will come in multiplication and L1 power 1. 4 will remain same in division. And differentiation of L1 with respect to T, so it is dL1 divided by dt, and because CD is constant, so differentiation is 0. This value is constant, differentiation is 0. Right? So we got this relation. Now we know that delta L is equal to L alpha delta T. Or you can say delta L by delta T is equal to alpha into L. Alpha into L. So we can replace this value dL2 divided by dt, or you can say delta L2 divided by delta T is equal to L2 into alpha 2. So I can replace this value with L2 into alpha 2. Here I am replacing this value. Similarly, delta L1 divided by delta T is equal to L1 into alpha. So you can replace this value with L1 into alpha. Now 2 and 2 will cancel out because magnitude wise L1 and L2 both are equal. So this L1, L2 will cancel out because they are equal. So they will cancel out and we will get alpha 2 minus alpha 1 by 4 is equal to 0. So from this you will get alpha 1 is equal to 4 alpha 2. Right? This problem is related with differentiation. If you have doubt in differentiation, then you can see the video lecture of differentiation. Right? Next point. Next point is variation of density of solid with temperature. We know as we increase the temperature of the solid, its volume increases. When volume increases, mass of the body remain constant. Right? When volume will increase, then density will decrease. Let us take a simple example of this sponge. Here volume is more and it is easy to press it. Right? This is having more volume, lesser density. As we decrease the volume of this body, mass is same. Now we are decreasing the volume of this body. Now it is difficult to press it. Right? Because the density of the same sponge is more as compared to the previous case, right? If we increase the volume, mass is same, density decreases and we can easily press it, right? Okay. So volume of the solid increases on heating while its mass remain constant. Hence density of the substance decreases, already discussed. Mass of the solid is, let us suppose, m. And at T1 degree Celsius, volume of the solid is V1 and its density is D1. Now, as we increase the temperature from T1 degree Celsius to T2 degree Celsius, the volume will expand and it becomes V2. What is the value of V2? V2 is V1 1 plus gamma into delta T. Volume expansion. And this is the final volume of the solid at T2 degree Celsius. Right? So when volume will increase, then density will decrease. But volume into density will remain constant because mass is constant. Volume will increase, density will decrease. So here volume is increasing, density is decreasing, product is constant. Right? So V1 into D1 is equal to V2 into D2. V1 D1 is equal to V2. It is final volume, that is V1 into 1 plus gamma into delta T. Put the value here. V1 will cancel out and we will get D2 value, that is density at T2 degree Celsius, is equal to D1 divided by 1 plus gamma into delta T. As we increase the temperature, density will decrease if we increase the denominator. Right? If given solid is heated from 0 degree Celsius to T degree Celsius, then the density changes from d naught to dt. That means T1 temperature is 0 degree Celsius and density at this 0 degree Celsius is d naught. At T degree Celsius, density is dt. So initial density is d naught, 0 degree Celsius, and the final density at T degree Celsius is dt. So d2 is dt, d1 is d naught. And the increase in temperature is from 0 to T. So delta T is 0 to T, T minus 0. So we will get dt is equal to d naught divided by 1 plus gamma into T. This is the density at temperature T and this is density at 0 degree Celsius. Right? We have a small point related with mathematics, that is binomial expansion, and according to binomial expansion, if x is very small in comparison to 1, then 1 plus x power n we can write as 1 plus nx approximately. So this n will come in multiplication. If x is very small, then 1 plus x power n is equal to 1 plus nx approximately. So move this is power 1, move this relation to the numerator. So we will get 1 plus gamma into T power minus 1. Because gamma value is very small, gamma range is nearly 10 raised to power minus 5 or minus 6. So this is very small as compared to 1. So we can use this relation, power will come in multiplication. We will get dt is equal to d naught 1 minus gamma into T. This is density at temperature T. This is density at 0 degree Celsius and this is approximate result. And this is exact result. Right? Next point is important concept. If difference in length of the two rods is independent of temperature, means as we increase the temperature of the two rods, the difference in length of the two rods remain constant with respect to temperature. If we increase the temperature, distance remain constant. Let us suppose we have two rods having thermal expansion coefficient alpha 1 and alpha 2. Length of the first rod is L1, length of the second rod is L2. And the difference in the two lengths is x. So x is L2 minus L1. This is our first equation. And according to the concept, if we increase the temperature, difference between the two lengths always remain constant. So when difference in the two lengths remain constant, when each rod expanded by same amount, means this length rod is increasing by 2 centimeter, then there will be same increment in the first rod also. Then only difference will remain constant. Let us suppose this length is 10 centimeter, this length is 6 centimeter. So what is the difference? Difference is 4 centimeter. If we increase the temperature and the length of this rod increases by 12 centimeter, then the same increment should be there in the first rod also, 8 centimeter. Then only difference will remain constant. So whenever the difference between the two lengths remain constant, that means expansion in both the two rods are same. So delta L is same for both the two rods. And the formula of delta L is L alpha delta T. So it is L1 alpha 1 delta T, L2 alpha 2 delta T. Delta T will cancel out and we will get this relation L1 alpha 1 equal to L2 alpha 2. This is our second equation. So whenever we get this type of concept in a numerical, then you have to use these two equations and you have to solve these two equations to find out length or gap x or any value given in the question. Let us see one example. What should be the length of steel and copper rod so that the length of steel rod is 10 centimeter longer than copper rod at all temperature? They are clearly saying that difference is always 10 centimeter. So length of steel rod is always longer than the copper rod by 10 centimeters. So gap is 10 centimeter. This is our first equation. So x is 10 here. and because it remain constant, so expansion in steel rod and expansion in copper rod will remain same. So compare it, delta t will cancel out. This is the length of the steel rod, length of the copper rod. Alpha values are given to you. Put the values and you will get the second equation, that length of steel is 17 by 11 length of copper rod. Put the value here and find out the value of length of steel and length of copper. You will get copper length 18.3 centimeter and steel rod length as 28.3 centimeter. Got my point? Next problem. In this problem we have two metal rods A and B. Length of the rods are given to you L1 and L2. Radius is same. Coefficient of linear expansion of the two rods alpha 1 and alpha 2. Two rods are joined to form a longer rod of length L1 plus L2. Find equivalent coefficient of linear expansion for composite rod or the combined rod. We have two different rods, length L1 and L2, linear expansion coefficient alpha 1 and alpha 2. Now we will combine them, we will join them to form a single composite rod, and we have to find out the equivalent linear expansion coefficient for this rod. What is the meaning of equivalent? Equivalent means the effect produced by the single rod is equal to the effect produced by both the two rods. So what is the effect? Here we have linear expansion. So expansion done by both the two rods is equal to the expansion done by single rod. So what is the expansion of the first rod? Delta L1. Expansion of the second rod? Delta L2. The net of the two rods is equal to the expansion of the single composite rod. Delta L equivalent. Right? And we have delta L is equal to L into alpha into delta T formula. Use this formula. Delta L1 is L1 alpha 1 delta T. Delta L2 is L2 alpha 2 delta T. Delta L equivalent, what is the length? Length is L1 plus L2, expansion coefficient alpha equivalent into delta T. Delta T will cancel out and calculate the value of alpha equivalent, that is L1 alpha 1 L2 alpha 2 divided by L1 plus L2, that is the equivalent expansion coefficient of the composite rod. Right? Next problem. A thin brass sheet at 10 degrees Celsius and steel sheet at 20 degrees Celsius have same surface area. We have to find out the common temperature at which both would have same area. So steel and brass sheet both are having same area, different temperature. We have to find out the common temperature for which both will have same area. So let us suppose that common temperature is T. At this temperature, both the sheets have same area. So let us suppose that area is A2. So with increase in temperature at T degrees Celsius, it is A1 1 plus beta into delta T. Beta is coefficient of areal expansion. Right? So what will be the final area of the brass? This is A1 1 plus beta of brass into increase in temperature T minus 10 to T, so T minus 10. What is the final area of the steel? It is initial area into 1 plus beta of steel into increase in temperature from 20 to T degrees Celsius, so increase in temperature is T minus 20. Right? Now solve it. A1 will cancel out. Right? Then 1 will cancel out, 2 will cancel out. Now put the value of alpha brass given to you, 19 into 10 raised to power minus 6. Put the value of alpha steel, 11 into 10 raised to power minus 6, and solve for the temperature T. You will get T equal to minus 3.75 degrees Celsius. So this is the temperature at which both the steel and brass sheet will have same area, common temperature. Right? Next point is anisotropic expansion of solid. When material is not uniform, then its expansion will be different in different direction. In x direction, it will expand in different way. In y direction, it will expand in different way, and in z direction, it will expand in different way. This type of material is known as anisotropic material, and the expansion is known as anisotropic expansion. Some solids interatomic separation in different directions are different due to arrangement of solid lattice structure. So there are difference in interatomic distance. That is why the expansion is different. Let us suppose the expansion in x direction is alpha 1, linear expansion coefficient, and in y direction it is alpha 2, in z direction it is alpha 3. Then we calculate the average value of linear expansion coefficient, that is alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3 divided by 3, and this is the average value of linear expansion coefficient. And we know areal expansion coefficient is 2 times of alpha. So here we will calculate the average value of coefficient of areal expansion, and that is equal to 2 times of alpha. So here beta is 2 times of alpha average, and here gamma is volume expansion coefficient, and that is equal to 3 times of alpha average value, right? Next point is application of expansion of solids. In this point we will see practically where we are using this expansion concept. First point, while lying down a railway track, a small gap must be left between the two ends of consecutive rails. These are the two consecutive rails, and there is some gap between the two. Why? Because in hot summers these rails will expand slightly, right? So we need some gap between them, otherwise there will be bending of these rails. And similarly, if you see any flyover, you will see there is a gap between the cemented blocks, right? These gaps are for expansion of solid. In hot summers, when the material will expand, then this gap will adjust that expansion, right? Second point, fitting a metal tires on cart wheel. It is a wooden cart wheel. The iron tires of cart wheel are fixed by heating iron tires having less diameter. So here we are using less diameter of iron tires. Then how you will fit on the wooden wheel? By heating. So on heating, the diameter of the wooden tire or ring expands. Then on cooling, the iron ring contracts and it holds the wooden wheel tightly. So to hold this wooden wheel tightly, we are using diameter of the tires less than the diameter of cart tires. Now when we increase the temperature of this iron tire or iron ring, it will expand and we will fit on this wooden wheel, and when temperature will decrease, then this ring will contract and it will hold the wooden cart very tightly, right? Third application, if a hot liquid is poured into a glass tumbler, it cracks due to uneven expansion. When you put this hot liquid in this glass container, then this liquid will increase the temperature of specific part of the glass container, and that part will try to expand, but there is no space for expansion, so ultimately this glass container will break. Fourth, telephonic wires or power cables between the two poles are loosely stretched. It allows the contraction of the wire during winter season. We always put some extra wire between the two poles because in winter season the wire will contract and there is less chances of breakage of wire, right? Fifth, heating of metal plate with hole. When metal plate with a circular hole is heated, distance between the atoms on the periphery of hole increases due to expansion. Hence, diameter of the hole increases. So as we increase the temperature, the gap between the two atoms will start increasing. Right? When gap will increase, then diameter of this hole will also increase. So when we increase the temperature of this plate having a hole, then the diameter of the hole will increase. Similarly, when plate with two holes is heated, the distance between the holes increases along with the size of holes. So when we increase the temperature of this plate having two holes, diameter of the holes will increase. Simultaneously, there will be increment in the gap between the two holes. Why? Because distance between the atoms present between the two holes will increase. Because of increment in the distance, these holes will move away from each other. Simultaneously, there is increment in their diameters also. So, D1, D2 and X will increase with temperature. X is the distance between the two holes. D1, D2 are the two diameters. Right? Sixth application, variation of pendulum clock due to thermal expansion. We know a pendulum clock runs according to the oscillation of simple pendulum. And the time period of simple pendulum is T equal to 2 pi under root L by G. This is the time taken by the pendulum to cover one complete cycle. And this time period depends on the length of the simple pendulum. If we increase the time period of oscillation, then this pendulum will take more time to oscillate. And needles will rotate with less speed. Means the clock becomes slow. If we decrease the time period of simple pendulum, in that case, this pendulum will move fast. It will take less time to complete one cycle. And the speed of the needles will increase. Means clock becomes fast. Right? When temperature increases during summer, time period increases. Why? Because of increase in length of the simple pendulum. As we increase the temperature due to expansion, length will increase. Hence, time period will also increase. In that case, clock loses time because it is taking more time to oscillate. When temperature decreases during winter, time period decreases. Why? Because as we decrease the temperature, length of the simple pendulum will also decrease due to contraction. And clock will gain some time in this case. Why? Because it is oscillating fast. Right? Let us see some calculation part. At T1 degree Celsius, length of the simple pendulum is L1. So time period is 2 pi under root L1 by G. Right? At T2 degree Celsius, that is more than T1, length of the simple pendulum is L2. L2 is L1 into 1 plus alpha into delta T according to the linear expansion condition. So the time period is 2 pi under root L2. Put the value of L2, L1 1 plus alpha into delta T divided by G. We have these two time periods for temperature T1 degree Celsius and T2 degree Celsius. Now divide these two equations, T2 divided by T1. Everything will cancel out, L1, L1, G will cancel out, 2 pi will cancel out, and we will get T2 divided by T1 is equal to under root 1 plus alpha into delta T. Under root means power half. So we can write T2 is equal to T1 into 1 plus alpha into delta T power half. And we know this alpha is very, very small, 10 raised to power minus 6. So if alpha value is very small, this complete data is very small. Then according to the binomial expansion, 1 plus x power n, we can write it as 1 plus nx. When x is very small. Here this part is very small. So we can write it as T2 equal to T1 1 plus half into alpha into delta T. Power will come in multiplication. Now what is the value of T2 minus T1? T2 minus T1 is difference in time period or change in time period, that is equal to T1 into half into alpha into delta T. Now delta t divided by t1 is the fractional change in time period. You have to remember this formula. Delta t by t1 is the fractional change in time period and its value is half alpha delta t. If you want to calculate percentage change, then multiply it by 100. So delta t by t into 100 is equal to half alpha delta t into 100. This is percentage change in time period. Now if you want to calculate change in time per day, that means we are observing for one complete day, and in one complete day total seconds is 86400 seconds. In a full day, change in time of the clock is half alpha delta t. Multiply this to the right side. So change in time per day is half alpha delta t 86400 seconds. So this is loss or gain in time per day. If we increase the temperature, length will increase, time period will increase, and clock becomes slow. If we decrease the temperature, length will decrease, time period will decrease, and clock become fast. And the change in time in a day is equal to this data half alpha delta t 86400 seconds. We have to remember this formula, right? Let us see some numericals based on pendulum clock. A pendulum clock of an iron rod connected to a small heavy bob, and it is showing correct reading at 20 degrees Celsius. How fast or slow will it go in one day at 40 degrees Celsius? It is showing correct reading at 20 degrees Celsius, but we have to find out the change in time per day at 40 degrees Celsius. So as we increase the temperature, the time period will increase and clock will take more time to oscillate, so it becomes slow. So the clock becomes slow. Now how much in one day? Let us calculate. We have a formula, delta t by t is equal to half alpha delta t, where t is for one complete day, and for one complete day its value is 86400 seconds. So loss in time or change in time per day is half alpha delta t into 86400 seconds. Now put the value of alpha given in the question, and the change in temperature is from 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. So 40 minus 20. Put the values, you will get 10.368 seconds as the difference in time. That means time lost per day is 10.368 seconds. Now let us see the second problem. A clock with a metallic pendulum is 5 seconds fast each day at 15 degrees Celsius and 10 seconds slow each day at 30 degrees Celsius. That means it is moving fast when the temperature is 15. It is moving slow when the temperature is 30. That means the temperature at which clock will show correct reading is between 15 and 30. So we are assuming a temperature T that is between 15 and 30, and at this temperature clock will show the correct reading. We know loss or gain of time per day is half alpha delta t 86400 seconds. Now this loss or gain in time is directly proportional to change in temperature. Rest all things are constant. So change in time is proportional to increase in temperature. So for 5 seconds the change in temperature is from 15 degrees Celsius to T. So delta T, that is the change in time, is proportional to increase in temperature. So 5 seconds is proportional to T minus 15. Now for 10 seconds slow, increase in temperature is proportional to 30 minus T. 30 minus T is proportional to 10. Divide these two equations. 10 divided by 5 is 30 minus T divided by T minus 15. So from this we will get a value T equal to 20 degrees Celsius, and this is the temperature where the clock will show you correct reading, right? Now they are asking find out the value of alpha. So we have a formula. Use this formula and find out the value of alpha. So take any time, let us take 10 seconds. So loss of time 10 seconds is equal to half alpha. Change in time is 30 minus 20. T is 20 into 86400 second. Now calculate the value of alpha from this equation. You will get 2.31 into 10 raised to power minus 5 per degree Celsius. Right? Next application is expansion of bimetallic strip. What is the meaning of bimetallic strip? Bi means two. So this is a combination of two different metals combined to form a single strip. You can see steel and brass. This is a combination of two metals in a single strip. Right? It is used in electric iron, geyser, electric oven, refrigerator, fire alarms for automatic function. Right? This bimetallic strip is used in a device known as thermostat. This thermostat is a device used to control temperature in an instrument like refrigerator, like electric oven, AC. This device used to control temperature in that instrument. Now this works on the principle of different metals expand differently for same rise in temperature. So this is based on the principle that when we increase the temperature of this bimetallic strip, the metal will expand in different manner. You can see here the brass linear expansion coefficient is more than steel. 18 into 10 raised to power minus 6, but steel is having 11 into 10 raised to power minus 6. So with increase in temperature, the increment in length of brass is more as compared to steel. That is the main principle of this bimetallic strip. You can see alpha of brass is more than alpha of steel. So final length will be more for brass if we increase the temperature. If we decrease the temperature, then decrement in the length of the brass is more because of more contraction in brass. Now let us understand this bimetallic strip having two metals, steel and brass. Room temperature, the length of steel and length of brass both are equal. Now we are increasing the temperature. When we increase the temperature, the expansion in brass is more as compared to steel. So increase in length of brass is more as compared to steel. So steel will come on the inner radius because in the inner radius the length is less and in the outer radius length is more. So whenever we increase the temperature for this bimetallic strip, the material which is having more value of alpha will come on the convex side. Here brass is having more value of alpha, more expansion for brass, so brass will come on the outer side or you can say on the convex side. Right? Now if we decrease the temperature of this bimetallic strip, initially both the lengths are equal. But when we decrease the temperature of this bimetallic strip, the contraction in brass will be more because of more value of alpha. So brass will contract more as compared to steel. So decrease in length of the brass is more as compared to steel. So brass will come on the inner side and steel there will be less decrease in length. So it will come on the outer side. So more contraction. The material which is having more value or higher value of alpha like brass, it will come on the concave side, inner side. Right? Here brass will lie on the inner layer of this bimetallic strip because of more contraction. Right? Now let us discuss one problem based on bimetallic strip. We have two equal straight strips fixed at d distance apart, right? Distance between them is d, initial length is same L0 and their expansion coefficients are alpha 1 and alpha 2 at 0 degree Celsius, right? If we increase the temperature of the strip, then there will be change in the shape of the strip. We have to find out what is the average radius of curvature of bimetallic strip when it is heated from 0 degree Celsius to T degree Celsius. So when we increase the temperature of this strip from 0 degrees Celsius to T degrees Celsius, the shape of the strip will change according to the expansion coefficient. We are assuming that alpha 1 is more than alpha 2. So alpha 1 is higher than alpha 2. So this material will expand more than this material. So first strip will come on the convex side, right? And let us suppose the radius of the first strip is R1, radius of the second strip is R2, and the gap between them is D. So what is D? D is the gap between them, that is R1 minus R2, right? And suppose these strips are making an angle theta. Theta angle is always equal to arc upon radius, right? What is this arc? This is the length of the strip at T degree Celsius temperature, not L0. It is L0 into 1 plus alpha into T with expansion, right? And what is the length of this second strip? It is L0 1 plus alpha 2 into T, right? This is L1 and this is L2. This is the arc length of the first strip. This is the arc length of the second strip. Now, angle is equal to arc upon radius, and it is also equal to arc upon radius. So theta is equal to L1 divided by R1, L2 divided by R2, right? And what is the gap? R1 minus R2 is equal to D, and in the question they are asking radius of curvature because their radius of curvatures are different. So we will calculate the average value of radius. What is average value of radius? It is R1 plus R2 divided by 2. So this we have to find out, and this is given R1 minus R2 is equal to D. Now angle is equal to arc upon radius. For first strip it is L1 by R1. So what is the value of L1? L1 is theta into R1, and we know after expansion the length of the strip become L0 1 plus alpha 1 into T. So replace L1 with L0 1 plus alpha 1 into T, that is equal to theta into R1, and this is our first equation. For second strip, theta is equal to L2 divided by R2. L2 divided by R2. What is L2? L2 is theta into R2 according to this equation. Now put the value of L2. L2 is L0 1 plus alpha 2 into T. So it is L0 1 plus alpha 2 into T, that is equal to theta into R2. That is our second equation. We have to find out R1 plus R2 divided by 2. That means we need addition of R1 and R2. And we know that R1 minus R2 is D. Right? We know the difference also, and addition we have to find out. So what we will do? We will add these two equations and we will subtract these two equations also. So when you subtract these two equations, L0 will cancel out, and L0 T will be common. So L0 T alpha 1 minus alpha 2 is equal to R1 minus R2 into theta, and R1 minus R2 is the gap, that is D. So replace it with D and put it in denominator. So it is L0 into T alpha 1 minus alpha 2 divided by D. This is the value of theta. Now we will add these two equations because we need R1 plus R2 divided by 2 addition. So when you add these two equations, you will get 2L0 plus L0 into T alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is equal to theta into R1 plus R2. Right? If we compare these two terms, this is negligible because this is 10 raised to power minus 6. The range of this term is 10 raised to power minus 6. So we can neglect this value in comparison to 2L. Here we have only single term. In this single term you can't neglect it. But here we have comparison of two terms. This value is much greater than this value. So I can neglect this term because of very small value as compared to length L0. So when you neglect it, you will get 2L0 is equal to theta into R1 plus R2. And we have to calculate R1 plus R2 divided by 2. So R1 plus R2 divided by 2 is the mean radius that we have to find out. is equal to L naught by theta. So L naught by theta, if you calculate L naught by theta, it will be D divided by T into alpha 1 minus alpha 2. That is the answer of this problem. Right? Next application is thermal stress in an object due to thermal expansion. So first thing we have to understand what is the meaning of stress. Normally we use this word stress like I am in stress means I am in pressure. So indirectly stress meaning is pressure that is equal to force upon area. When you pull this rod or when you push this rod will experience pressure that is equal to force upon area of cross section. Right? And what is the meaning of strain? The effect produced by the pressure or stress. There will be some increment or decrement in the length. Strain is the fractional change in the length that is known as longitudinal strain. That is delta L by L. When you pull this rod, then there will be increment in the length of the rod. This increment divided by original length is known as strain. If you push this rod, then there will be decrement in the length of the rod, that is delta L. Delta L by original length L is equal to the strain on that body. Right? And Young's modulus of elasticity Y is ratio of stress by strain. Right? It is a constant for a material. Its value is stress divided by strain. Force upon area is stress. Strain is delta L by L. Now what is the meaning of thermal stress? Stress means pressure, thermal means increase in temperature. So this stress or pressure will develop due to increase in temperature. Let us suppose our rod is connected between the two fixed walls. When we increase the temperature of this rod will try to expand, but there is no space for expansion. So the expansion done by the rod will be balanced by the force applied by the vertical walls. So increment in the length of the rod is balanced by the compression done by the wall on the rod, because the length of the rod remain constant and there will be some expansion due to increase in temperature that will be balanced by the compression done by the wall. Right? So Young's modulus is force upon area, delta L by L. Force upon area is stress, and delta L by L, due to thermal expansion, it is alpha into delta T. So we can replace this delta L by L with alpha into delta T, multiply this alpha into delta T with Young's modulus, and we will get F divided by A is Y alpha delta T. This F divided by A is stress, and this is due to increase in temperature. That is why this is known as thermal stress. So thermal stress on this rod is Y alpha into delta T. And what is the thermal force or normal force applied by the wall? Multiply this A to left side. You will get Y alpha A delta T, that is equal to the force, and it is known as thermal force or normal force applied by the wall. Right? Now the next application is expansion of a measuring scale. Let us suppose we have a metal scale made up of a material whose expansion coefficient is alpha s, and it is calibrated at T1 degrees Celsius. What is the meaning of calibrated at T1 degrees Celsius? Means it will show you the correct reading only at T1 degrees Celsius. If you increase the temperature or if you decrease the temperature, it will show you some error. That is the meaning of calibrated at T1 degrees Celsius. Now we have this metallic scale whose linear expansion coefficient is alpha s, and we are measuring the length of a rod whose alpha is 0. Means this rod will not expand or contract with the change in temperature. It will remain constant. Right? Now the actual length of the rod measured at T1 degrees Celsius is 8 centimeter, and it is a 12 centimeter scale, and the length measured by this scale is 8 centimeter. That is the correct length. So calibrated length or correct length is 8 centimeter. Right? Now I am increasing the temperature of the scale. If you increase the temperature of the scale, the length of the scale will increase due to thermal expansion. If the length will increase, then this 12 centimeter mark will shift towards right side. It will reach here. Right? There is expansion. And due to this expansion, each and every mark will shift towards right side. This 8 will shift towards right side. This 6 will shift towards right side. Similarly, all these marks will shift towards right side, and we will get a new reading of this rod as 6 centimeter. This is the measured value at T2 degrees Celsius, and T2 degrees Celsius is more than T1 degrees Celsius. Right? So the measured value here is L is the measured value at T2 degrees Celsius. The measured value is 6 centimeter. That is wrong, because the correct length of the rod is 8 centimeter. And because of increase in length of the scale, this 8 centimeter mark is shifted towards right side. So there is a error of 2 centimeter. Actual length of the rod is 8 centimeter, but the reading or the measured value is 6 centimeter. So there is a error of 2 centimeter. So how to get the true value or correct value? By adding the error in the measured value. Measured value is L or 6 centimeter. Add the error in it. What is the error? Error is 2 centimeter. If you add the error, then you will get correct reading at T2 degrees Celsius. Right? So when we increase the temperature, length of the rod observed or measured by the scale is less than the correct length. You can check it. Correct length is 8 and the measured length is 6. So length measured by the scale is less than the correct value. So what is the true value? True value is sum of measured value plus error. What is the value of this error? The value of this error is L alpha S into delta T. That is the expansion in L length of the scale. So error produced by the scale in measuring L length is delta L, and that is equal to L alpha delta T. We are using same linear expansion concept. Delta L by L is alpha into delta T. So delta L is the increase in length, that is the error, is equal to L alpha into delta T. So to find out the correct or true value, what we have to do? We have to add the error in the measured length. So it is L plus delta L. Delta L is L alpha delta T. Right? Now, if we decrease the temperature from T1 degrees Celsius, if we decrease the temperature to T2 degrees Celsius, so T2 is less than T1. In that case, this scale will contract. The size of the scale will decrease. When size of the scale will decrease, then this 12 centimeter mark will shift towards left side. And each and every mark will shift towards left side. This 8 will shift towards left side. This 10 will shift towards left side, and each and every mark will shift towards left side. So because of this shifting, the measured value of the same rod is now 10 centimeter. So L is 10 centimeter now. The measured value is 10 centimeter. Right? Again, there is error in the reading. The actual length of the rod is 8 centimeter, but this scale is measuring 10 centimeter, more than the correct value of the rod. So when we decrease the temperature, the measured value will be more than the correct value of the rod. So what we have to do to get correct value? To get correct value, we have to subtract the error. Error is 2 centimeter. Actual length is 8 centimeter. To get this 8 centimeter, we have to subtract the error. Error is 2 centimeter. If you subtract the error from the total reading is 10 centimeter. If you subtract the error, you will get correct value or true value, that is equal to 8 centimeter. So when temperature is decreased, then the length of the rod observed by the scale is more than the correct length. You can see here, it is 10, correct is 8, it is measuring 10. So how to get correct or true value? We will decrease the error. Error is same, L alpha delta t. Now you have to decrease the error in the measured length. That is L minus L alpha into delta t. That is the true value when we decrease the temperature of the scale. When we increase the temperature of the scale, then the reading will be less and we have to add the error to get correct value. Got my point? Next point is when both rod and scale are made from different metals and both expands with temperature. So here we have metal scale whose linear expansion coefficient is alpha s and a metal rod whose linear expansion coefficient is alpha m. And this scale is calibrated at T1 degree Celsius, means this scale will measure correct value of length of this rod, that is equal to LC. So LC is the calibrated length of the rod or the correct length of the rod. Now we increase the temperature of the system from T1 degree Celsius to T2 degree Celsius. Because of increase in temperature, both rod and scale both will expand and their expansion will be according to the temperature coefficients of the two materials. So let us suppose the observed or measured length of the rod at T2 degree Celsius is LOB. This is the observed length or the measured length at T2 degree Celsius, right, at higher temperature. Now the value of observed length in terms of correct length is equal to LC into 1 plus alpha m minus alpha s into delta t. Delta t is the increase in temperature, T2 minus T1, right? And we have to remember this formula directly because it is not possible to derive this relation in a objective paper. So you have to remember it directly that observed length is equal to correct length at T1 degree Celsius into 1 plus alpha m minus alpha s into delta t. This alpha m is for metal rod, expansion coefficient of metal rod, and alpha s is expansion coefficient of metal scale. Now there are two different conditions. First condition is if rod alpha is more than alpha of scale. That means expansion in rod is more than expansion of scale. In that case, the measurement of the scale will be more than the correct value because the rod is expanding more, then the measured or observed length will be more than the correct length because the expansion in the rod is more than expansion in the solid. So here marking will shift slowly but the rod will expand rapidly. So overall observed length will be more than the actual or correct length. Second case, when alpha of rod is less than alpha of scale, means expansion in scale is more than expansion in rod. That means rod will expand slowly but the scale will expand rapidly. So the marking will shift towards right side and the observed value or measured value of the length of the rod is less than the actual value because the marking will shift towards right side and the observed length of the rod will be less than the correct or calibrated length of the rod, right? Let us discuss some numericals based on measuring scale. A meter scale gives correct length at 0 degree Celsius. That means calibrated temperature is 0 degree Celsius and it will read correct value here. When the length of the object is measured with that scale at 30 degrees Celsius, its value was found to be 16 meter. So 16 meter is the measured value, not the correct value. The correct value of the object is, so here we have to find out the correct value of the object, but object alpha is not given. So if alpha is not given, then we will assume that there is no expansion in object. Only scale is expanding because alpha is given for scale. We know as we increase the temperature, the true value of length is measured length plus error. That is L alpha delta T, and this is for scale. So L is 16 measured value. So 16 plus 16 into alpha is given to you. Put it here. Increase in temperature is from 0 to 30 degree. So 30 minus 0. Solve it. You will get 16.009 meter. This is the correct value. But the scale is measuring 16 meter. Actual length is 16.009. Next problem. A steel scale is correct at 0 degree Celsius. The length of the brass rod measured by it at 40 degrees Celsius is 4.5. That means this is the observed value, 4.5. The correct length of the rod at 0 degrees Celsius is. So we have to find out the correct length. And alpha of brass and alpha of steel both are given to you. That means for rod and for scale, both the data are given to you. That means here we have to use this formula. Observed length is equal to correct length 1 plus alpha rod minus alpha steel into delta T. So now observed value is given to you 4.5. Put it here. Correct value we have to find out. Alpha rod is given to you 19 into 10 raised to power minus 6, and alpha steel scale is also given to you. Put it here and find out the correct value of length LC, that is equal to 4.5 divided by 1 plus 32 into 10 raised to power minus 6, and it is approximately 4.499 meter. Right? Now the last problem. If I is the moment of inertia of the disk, find the change in moment of inertia due to small increase in temperature. If we increase the temperature, then disk will expand, and we have to find out the change in moment of inertia. Alpha is given to you. Now moment of inertia is directly proportional to radius square. Right? Moment of inertia is directly proportional to radius square. If you convert this relation into fractional change, then according to error, power will come in multiplication. Whenever you convert a relation into fractional change, then you have to write power in multiplication. So the formula will convert into delta I by I is equal to 2. That is the power that will come in multiplication. 2 into delta R by R. That is fractional change in length. Because what is R? R is the radius or the length between center and periphery. So this is length, and delta R by R is fractional change in length. According to the expansion formula, delta L by L is alpha into delta T. So you can replace this delta R by R with alpha into delta T. Delta I by I is equal to 2 into alpha into delta T. So what is the value of change in moment of inertia? It is 2 into I into alpha into delta T. That is our answer. Right?